Everyone, how are you? This is Kevin DeLeon, your Cengage Learning representative. I've talked with many of you about MindTap for criminal justice, and I thought this making a quick video might make exploring MindTap a little bit easier for you, and I wanted to run through it pretty quickly. And if any of you have questions, I'm going to also be sending you a link to a course page that I've made, and it looks like this. And it's got all information from all of my texts in all areas, okay? The titles that have MindTap coming soon, and also a link that you can actually complete a short MindTap demo for a $25 honorarium. That's here as well, so I'll be sending you that information. Okay, this is the first screen inside of MindTap. As you'll see, it's broken down into each chapter, okay? There's also another view up here that shows different weeks. And this is great for students to be able to manage their workflow. All you need to do to get items here is to set a due date, and you can see I've done that in several areas. And the students can click on each of these items to complete the activity. So it makes it a little easier for their workflow. There's also another view up here on the right, which is a date manager view, which allows you to select and manage due dates for one assignment or many assignments all at the same time. In case you have a snow day or just need to set your due dates for your course at the beginning, we can do that. Additionally, I also have a person called my DSC. Her name is Amy, and it's actually her job to help customize and personalize your MindTap for you should you need that assistance. I wanted to walk through a chapter with you really quickly. They're all laid out the same and show you what about MindTap is so special. First is, in case any of you are trying to get certified for Quality Matters or interested in that at all, we have learning objectives not only listed at the top for each of our chapters, but we also have learning objectives tied to each activity so that correlation can be made. Okay, so there's learning objectives at the top for each. We want to tell students what are they going to be learning in this chapter. Okay, the next plank right here, this is what we call them, planks, is called the visual summary. This is great because as we sit down and talk with students during focus groups, they keep telling us over and over and over, I'm not going to read the whole chapter. Why can't you just tell me what's important so I can learn that material? And that's frankly what we've done for students. Students use textbooks much differently than they used to in the past. And in many cases, they're hunting for terms and then reading up a little bit on each term as they read, as opposed to just sitting down and reading the entire chapter like you or I might have done. So for this chapter, these are correlate to the what we would call A heads, or basically major topics inside each section of this chapter. Okay, and in each one, the students can click and learn a little bit about each one very briefly. They can then click out of it, or they can click the next button to go to the next, what we would call again A head, and then there's a subsection below it that the students can click on as well to read. This is not necessarily an assignable item, although you can set a due date for it, but it's really just for students. We want to help them read the textbook more effectively, and we think that this visual summary does that. In case you want to get to the ebook is here. We have it called Reader, okay? And this is what the ebook looks like. The students can go to each section here, or they can page through, okay? Inside of each ebook, when the students highlight, they can highlight in a different color. They can look up the word perception in the dictionary if they like. Okay. They can have the text read to them. They can add what I've highlighted as a definition for a flashcard. And they can even search Questia, which is our research database app located here where this I is, as well, in case they want to do some research, in case they're writing a research paper, or they just want to read a little bit more about that topic. Up here, you can also, as an instructor, edit and add content inside of each ebook. Maybe you'd like to add an RSS feed about current events, a YouTube video, a web link. Inside Questia, there are a bunch of writing tutorials with videos and examples about different writing options or writing topics, and you can enter those into the ebook as well. Many of our instructors tell us that writing is the biggest problem that they have that students struggle with, so we address that help with our Questia app as well. Okay, so now down to kind of the special sauce of this MindTap. is this video case and then these career scenarios we want them to decide and justify. So up here for the video case, many of my instructors tell me that they often pull in videos, YouTube videos for their students to read. But not many of my instructors spend the time to actually put contextual questions down next to them. And the reason is because it takes a lot of time. So you might go through the time of searching through YouTube and pulling out good videos, which we've done on different topics, but we've also put some type of assessment next to it so that we correlate the concept in the video that correlates with the chapter into some assessment to help the students make that link in their minds in terms of what they're learning and how it applies. Okay, this one is about security at the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl of security operations, where more than 70 law enforcement agencies come together with one common goal.
And as you can see, they're all very current events. Most of them are taken from the news or CNN or things that the students can really identify with. Down here to the decide scenario, this is incredibly unique as well, because one thing, as you all know, that's incredibly important for students today is having great critical thinking skills, especially for criminal justice students. Criminal justice students want to be police officers. They want to work in security. They want to work in corrections. And in those professions, they need to have incredible critical thinking skills. And unfortunately, sometimes just reading the textbook doesn't help the students make that real world connection between the concept in the textbook and what they really might be doing in the real world. So we've included these scenarios. So this one is about local police and the immigration law, okay? So we have a very short scenario at the very top. This one, again, is about local police, that they have many duties, but historically enforcing the nation's immigration laws has not been one of them, okay? So we want to know what they would do, okay? So what would you do under this scenario? We have basically a yes in this case or a no, okay? There's no right or wrong answer, but it takes them down a different path depending on which one they answer. So once the students have answered the first question, they're going to be prompted for a second question as well. I think my internet is just a little slow. Here we go. And so now they say, what would you do again? So you're a female police officer in the Mexican descent in the city. And so we want to know what they would do, yes or no. Again, there's no right or wrong answer, but we want them to go through this exercise. So going through the exercise about choosing what they would do is incredibly important. But right down here where the justify comes in is really critical as well. So not only do we want them to make a critical thinking decision, but we want them to back it up. In other words, why did they make that decision? Why did they feel that way? This activity really allows the students to make the relationship between the act and the actual critical thinking about why they chose to do that. So we're not just having them fill in bubbles and answers, we're actually having them justify their decision. The other great part about this activity is not only are we going to have them justify and make the relationship and the concept, but we're also going to have them do some writing. We know that this isn't going to be a long paper or a 5-paragraph answer, but again, in this course where students really struggle with their writing skills, having them do any writing at all is really beneficial. So in this case, they would actually write down why or why not. Why should they do this? Why shouldn't they do that? Which is great. We also have some pre-populated quizzes or exams here as well. They're here for you to either assign with a due date or for the students to practice. Up here in our app center, this app called CNow actually allows you to build your own quizzes straight from the test bank as well, which is really great. One of the last things I'll show you is these writing skill builders. There's one for every part. So there should be 4 parts in here. So here's the first one. Here's another one. And we've sprinkled these in because, again, instructors have told us my students struggle with writing. So we wanted to put in an opportunity for them to actually do some writing in here as well. Additionally, inside of MindTap, if you come up to this plus button, we're going to allow you not only to add a folder, a unit, but also an activity. In other words, we want you to be able to add your own information, whether it's a flashcard, a YouTube video, an Apply, a writing assignment, a web link, or really anything. Maybe it's your own content, something that you're already using on your computer. You can add right into MindTap here. The great thing about adding these items into MindTap is they're all in one place. MindTap can also be integrated into Blackboard. And in my next video, I'll